Have you ever wondered if being too kind could actually ruin your life? It sounds wrong, doesn't it? Like a contradiction. Kindness is supposed to be a virtue. We teach it to children, admire it in saints, build friendships and families on its foundation. But what if I told you that kindness, blind, excessive, self-erasing kindness, can become the very force that destroys your peace, your power, even your identity? Let me take you into a quiet tragedy. Not the loud kind that comes with fire and fury, but the kind that creeps in softly. You won't find it in newspaper headlines or hear about it in heroic speeches. It hides in everyday lives. In the man who never says no. In the woman who's always available. In the friend who listens but is never heard. In the silent exhaustion of a soul stretched too thin, because they thought being kind meant always putting themselves last. We don't talk about it enough. The darker side of goodness. The way it teaches you to suppress your anger until it curdles into resentment. The way it asks you to keep giving, even when it's clear that no one is giving back. The way it slowly teaches you that your own needs, your own voice, your own space, don't matter. But they do. There is a moment in every kind person's life when the weight becomes too much. When the habit of pleasing everyone becomes a burden instead of a gift. When the smile on your face feels like a lie. When you look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. Because you gave too much. You cared too deeply. You let yourself disappear in the name of kindness. And the world? It doesn't always reward you. In fact, it often punishes you for it. That's the truth no one likes to say out loud. People take advantage of kind souls. Not always because they're cruel, sometimes just because they can. Because you made it easy. You taught them that your time was always available. That your boundaries didn't matter. That your silence meant agreement. That your tiredness wasn't important. That you would always show up, even when it hurt. And in doing so, you gave the world a dangerous message, that you don't need protection. That you don't need rest. That you don't need love in return. But you do. This is not a call to become cold or bitter. It's not an argument against kindness itself. Stoicism never asked you to stop caring, it only asked you to care wisely. To practice love with reason. To give with judgment. To protect your soul like a sacred flame, not burn it out in the name of being good. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is not their soul that stands in your way. It is your own." He knew something most of us forget. That the enemy is often inside us. That people don't destroy us, we hand them the weapon. In the name of kindness. In the hope of being loved. How many moments have you said yes, when everything inside you screamed no? How many times have you bitten your tongue, smiled through the insult, stayed when you should have walked away? That's not kindness. That's self-betrayal. You see, real kindness, the kind that comes from strength, has boundaries. It's not afraid to say no. It doesn't tolerate disrespect. It doesn't let others write your story while you disappear into the margins. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus taught his students to love people, but never become their slave. Seneca wrote that, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. And to live with courage means knowing where kindness ends, and where self-respect begins. Because kindness, without self-respect, is just weakness in disguise. If you give to others but abandon yourself, that's not noble. That's self-neglect. If you help others up while sinking deeper yourself, that's not heroic. That's slow self-destruction. There's a line. Invisible, but vital. And every truly strong soul must learn to find it. But here's the hardest part, the world rarely tells you to stop. No one interrupts your self-destruction to say, enough. You've done too much. They just keep taking. Quietly, relentlessly, until you have nothing left to give. And when you're finally empty, when your eyes grow tired and your heart grows cold, they call you changed. They say you've become distant. Difficult. Not like you used to be. But who were you before? A doormat? A shadow? A servant of everyone's needs but your own? This is what kindness can become when left unguarded, a mask, a trap, a cage of your own making. And the worst part? You trained them. You trained the people around you to treat you this way. You showed them that your no always meant maybe. That your silence meant approval. That your breaking point wasn't real, just another pause before you picked everything up again. You taught them that you would never leave. No matter how they spoke to you. No matter how little they appreciated you. No matter how much it hurt. And you told yourself it was love. That love means sacrifice. That kindness means endurance. That good people carry the weight without complaint. But that's a lie. A dangerous one. Because love without balance isn't love. It's martyrdom. And martyrdom doesn't heal the world, it just adds another silent wound to it. Ask yourself, where did you learn that your needs didn't matter? That speaking up was selfish? That boundaries were walls instead of doors? Did someone teach you that love had to hurt to be real? That kindness had to be endless to be enough? Trace it back. Maybe it started in childhood. Maybe you saw someone you loved destroy themselves in the name of care. A parent who never rested. A teacher who gave everything. A friend who always gave more than they had. Maybe you inherited the pattern like a family heirloom, passed down without question, worn like invisible armor. But it's time to take it off. It's time to unlearn the idea that being kind means being weak. It's time to realize that your life has value, too. That you are not here only to serve. That your dreams, your rest, your space, they matter. Even the Stoics, known for their calm and their strength, never asked anyone to suffer needlessly. Seneca warned against serving people who devour your time and your soul. Associate with those who will make you better, he wrote. Welcome those you can make better. The process is mutual. That's real kindness, not servitude, not people-pleasing, but growth. Mutual. Respectful. Honest. You were not made to bend forever. You were not born to be broken just to make others feel whole. True kindness is fierce. It has a backbone. It knows when to say, no more. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't shrink in shame. It stands tall and quiet and unwavering, not because it needs to prove anything, but because it knows who it is. And that's the journey now, isn't it? Not to stop being kind. But to stop being small. Not to shut the door on others. But to stop leaving the door open for those who only come to take. There is a power in saying, this is where I end. And this is where you begin. There is a sacredness in protecting your time, your energy, your peace, not because you are selfish, but because you finally understand, you are worth protecting. That's what the world never taught you. That you can be kind, and still walk away. That you can be generous, and still say no. That you can love deeply, and still demand to be treated with dignity. Anything less is not kindness. It's surrender. So if you feel tired, hollow, stretched thin, ask yourself, who taught you that love should cost you everything? And who gave you permission to take nothing in return? The answers may be quiet, hidden under years of habits and guilt and half-spoken truths. But they are there. And once you find them, you will know, kindness is not about abandoning yourself. It is about showing up fully, not just for others, but for you, too. That is where strength lives. That is where the Stoic stands, unshaken in the storm. And you can, too. There's a silence that settles in after you stop being everyone's solution. At first, it's terrifying. You feel like a traitor. You expect the world to collapse because you finally said no. You expect people to turn cold, to walk away, to punish you for not playing the role they assigned you. And some of them do. Some people only love you as long as you are useful. As long as you stay quiet, stay soft, stay available. The moment you show a spine, the moment you say, enough, they reveal the truth. That it was never love. It was convenience. And that's a hard truth. One that cuts deep. But beneath that pain is something else. Something sacred. A beginning. Because when you stop being who the world wants you to be, you finally have space to remember who you actually are. You start noticing how heavy you've been feeling. Not from the things life threw at you, but from the burdens you volunteered to carry. You start seeing the ways you twisted yourself, softened your edges, silenced your fire, all to avoid conflict. All to be liked. But now you're done with that. Now you're ready for something harder, but more honest. A life rooted in truth. And truth, by nature, isn't always comfortable. The Stoics never promised comfort. They promised clarity. Clarity about what is yours, and what is not. Clarity about your responsibilities, and your limits. Clarity about how to live with integrity, even when the world tries to bend you into something easier to digest. Marcus Aurelius wrote, If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth. It has never harmed me. What harms me is being deceived and continuing in my ignorance. It's time to stop deceiving yourself. You are not here to fix people who don't want to change. You are not here to earn love by shrinking yourself. You are not here to sacrifice your peace to prove your goodness. You're here to live. Fully. Consciously. With strength and kindness, yes, but with wisdom, too. That means learning to say no without guilt. It means letting people feel disappointed and not rushing to save them from it. It means standing in a room and letting the tension hang, because speaking your truth is more important than pleasing everyone. That is the strength of a Stoic, not cold detachment, but courageous clarity. To look someone in the eye and say, I care about you. But I will not betray myself for you. To walk away when the cost of staying is your soul. To hold your kindness like a sword, not a leash. That kind of kindness doesn't destroy you. It protects you. It lets you show up with an open heart, but never with an open wound. It gives freely, but only from a full cup. It forgives, but doesn't forget what it had to heal from. And yes, some people will call it selfish. They'll say you've changed. They'll miss the version of you that was easy to use. Let them. Let them go. You're not responsible for how they react to your healing. You're only responsible for protecting what you fought to reclaim, your time, your voice, your boundaries, your inner stillness. Seneca once warned that, a generous heart should not be a foolish one. Generosity is not a blank check. It's a conscious act. It's choosing to give, not because you're afraid to lose people, but because you are whole enough to offer something true. But only when it's right. Only when it's mutual. Only when it doesn't require self-erasure. Because here's the thing no one tells you about living this way. It's lonelier at first. When you stop overgiving, stop chasing, stop fixing, you lose people. But you gain something much more precious. You gain yourself. You gain silence that heals instead of silence that hides. You gain relationships that are built on respect, not performance. You gain time, real time, to do what matters to you, instead of what others expect of you. And maybe, just maybe, you gain peace. Not the fake kind that comes from avoiding conflict. The real kind. The one that comes from no longer being at war with yourself. That's what Stoicism was always about. Not shutting down emotions, but disciplining them. Not avoiding people, but engaging with them honestly. Not rejecting kindness, but learning where it ends. So if you've spent your whole life being the nice one, the reliable one, the always there no matter what one, this is your wake-up call. You are allowed to be kind and clear. You are allowed to be loving and firm. You are allowed to be generous, and say no when it matters. Because the cost of always saying yes, is you. There comes a moment when you finally stop apologizing for your strength. When you look at the mirror, really look, and see not someone who's become cold, but someone who's finally become whole. Someone who has chosen truth over comfort. Boundaries over burnout. Peace over performance. This is the turning point. You no longer live in fear of being misunderstood. You no longer explain your no like it's a crime. You no longer hand over your energy like it costs nothing. Because now you know, kindness is not infinite. It must be rooted. And the roots are in you. You are the source. And if you are not cared for, nothing else can flourish. That's what they never taught you. They taught you to pour, but not how to refill. To bend, but not how to rise. To love, but not how to love yourself. And the world praised you for it. Called you good. Noble. Selfless. But what they really meant was, you make it easier for us. You don't take up space. You don't challenge us. You don't disrupt the system that profits from your silence. But you're done with that now. You've seen what happens when you live only to serve. You've seen what it costs. And now, finally, you're choosing something else. You're choosing to live by a different code. Not the code of people-pleasing, not the code of quiet suffering, but the code of inner integrity. The Stoic code. To wake up each day and ask, what is mine to carry, and what is not? To remember, as Epictetus taught, that no man is free who is not master of himself. To understand that protecting your energy is not a luxury, it is your duty. Because your energy shapes your actions. Your actions shape your world. And if your world is built on exhaustion and resentment, there is no kindness left to give, only fragments. That's not who you are anymore. You're not here to fracture. You're here to grow. You're not here to impress. You're here to be real. And being real, truly real, means you will disappoint some people. Let them be disappointed. You're not their fantasy anymore. You're not their therapist. You're not their emotional sponge, their backup plan, their endless source of yes. You're you. And from now on, that's enough. Let them call you distant. Let them say you've changed. Let them gossip and grumble and leave. What remains will be real. The ones who stay, who listen, who adjust when you speak your needs, those are your people. The ones who grow with you. Who respect your time, your values, your evolution. Because your evolution is not a betrayal. It is a return. A return to your center. A return to the calm clarity you always longed for. And from that center, kindness flows again. But this time, it doesn't drain you. This time, it doesn't hurt. This time, it's a fire you control, not one that consumes you. Because now you give not to be loved, but because you are love. Now you give not to be accepted, but because you've already accepted yourself. Now you give not to be saved, but because you've already saved yourself. That is the shift. That is the freedom. That is the fire Stoicism lit inside those who understood the difference between serving others and sacrificing themselves. Between being good and being whole. So ask yourself, before the next yes leaves your lips. Am I doing this from love, or from fear? Am I showing up from abundance, or from emptiness? Am I choosing this, or have I simply forgotten I have a choice? If the answer stings, be gentle. You've lived a long time in the shadows of your own kindness. But now you see. Now you know. And knowing is the beginning of everything. It's the moment the curtain lifts. The moment you step onto the stage of your own life. Not as a background character. Not as the one who quietly carries the weight. But as the center. Alive. Awake. Aware. Still kind, but no longer silent. Still loving, but no longer losing yourself in the name of love. Still open, but no longer open to being broken. This is what Stoicism looks like when it enters the heart. Not coldness. Not distance. But calm fire. Stillness with strength. Boundaries with compassion. Kindness with clarity. And from that place, you will live not a perfect life, but a powerful one. Because now, finally, you are kind not just to others, but to yourself. And that changes everything.